my screw ups, my mess ups, because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the waters, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Oh God, y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. Afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit, join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. I'm your host, Isaac J. Miles, and I am so glad that you have decided to join me this morning in this conscious conversation. It is going to be a good one. I promise you, you're going to have a wonderful time. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be empowered. You're going to be inspired. You are going to be helped and uplifted and encouraged by what you receive this morning. Now, listen, those of you who are watching me across all platforms, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to need your help. I need you to help me to continue to grow and to expand the reach of this platform. So what you can do for me today, right now, those of you who are watching across all platforms, number one, I need for you to share this live with everybody that you know. Go ahead, take a moment, do it right now. Do it right now. Go ahead, hit the share button and just start sharing it out. Share it to your group chat, share it to the groups that you're a part of on whatever platform you're watching from, share it to your friends and your family, share it to everybody that you can think of and invite them to come and be a part of the conversation. Take about 10 seconds and do that for me right now. Everybody, just share it. Share it. You can attach a little note to it and say, hey, look, this is something that I think you'll enjoy that will be helpful to you. You should tune in and watch what's taking place. Go ahead and do that right now. Share it all across every platform. Do it right now. This is going to be a great conversation. All right, here's the second thing. I need for you to interact with this live. That means I need you to be a part of the conversation. I need you to send hearts, double tap that screen, click those hearts, and send up as many likes and hearts as you can possibly do. And do it not just now, but throughout the entire live experience that we're having here. I need for you to hit those likes and help me to be able to engage, because when you do so, the algorithm pushes this live out even further, and more people are drawn to it and will come in and be able to participate. So I need for you to right now take a few moments and start double tapping the screen. Everybody, let's run those likes up. Start clicking those likes, those hearts, and I need to see a bunch of hearts coming up everywhere. Come on, do it for me right now, if you will. Take about 15 seconds or so and just begin to double tap and send those likes this way. I appreciate every single one of you and all of you that are doing so right now. This iPad is acting up. I think it's time for me to get a new iPad. I'm going to order one this week, probably do it today so that it'll hurry up and get here, because this iPad is acting a monkey. Okay, do that for me right now. Let's run those likes up. Come on, run them up. Okay. God bless you. Hey, my man. I see the Apostle Carrie Pope that's on here with me this morning. I am so glad to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of this conversation. I appreciate you. I absolutely do. All of my friends, I thank you for tuning in. Those of you who are watching, Marcus Grave, thank you for tuning in. Little Jump, Mike, AI Miles. Oh my. You got my last name, so that means you're a good person. You got to at least be a good person and carry that Miles moniker with you. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching. Hang with me for just a little while. I promise the conversation is going to be worth your while. I'm trying to get my iPad to act like it's got some sense, and it may not do so. And so if it doesn't, then that means I'm going to just teach without the notes today, which is okay. I am more than capable of doing so. But I would like to have my notes if I can get them to come up on this iPad. I don't know why it's not syncing. Yeah, it's time for a new one. Because this one is not working well at all. Ooh, it's stuck. It is stuck. Okay. So, all right. Thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate you being here. What we're going to talk about this morning is powerful. And it is so timely because of where we find ourselves right now at this moment. If you didn't realize it, we have been in the midst of a global shifting that is taking place. And I've been talking about this. I began to warn about it in 2019. 2020, especially during COVID. And I talked about, if you remember, those of you who've been following the platform know that I began to prophesy that there was going to be a global shift that was taking place, that we were in the midst of it because we were headed toward the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius, that is where Pluto is seated in Aquarius for the next 20 years, and that it signified, or it gave us a blazing alarm, if you will, almost like a neon sign flashing, that things were about to begin to shift and change in every area of humanity on a global stage, that there would be a shift in technology, a shift in media, a shift in music, a shift in energy, in government, that there would be governmental shift. And we're not talking about a small shift, but a shift of the paradigm. And the word paradigm, what it means is that it shifts the way that we function and that we operate as a human society. That the world, the global community, would shift how it would act and move and behave across the board. I began to talk about this in 2019 and 2020 during COVID. Myself, along with a number of other real prophets and psychics and seers, began to say that you were given an opportunity during the COVID experience to begin to reshape, rethink, and retool yourself and prepare for what was emerging at the moment. You have to be in tune and aligned with what's taking place, not only in the eternal moment of now, but what is forming in the future. The real power of a seer, of a futurist, or a prophet or psychic is their ability to be able to look into the future and see it forming, to see it coming before it arrives here, to see it being put into place so that it can begin to prepare those who may not be as aligned or as attuned. They can prepare for what is coming. And so you need to be aligned and attuned with God within you, that because the job of the Holy Spirit within you, that Spirit of God that is in you, through you, and as you, has one very specific job. And it's not to get you to dance and shout and hick a Messiah and jerk and quicken, but it is to guide you and lead you into all truth. Watch this. Here's the second part of the verse that most people leave out. It does not just guide you and lead you into all truth, but it says it will show you those things which are to come. It shows you those things which are to come. It is to unveil, reveal, uncover those things that are about to manifest in your three-dimensional reality. And many people, especially those who are, don't get mad at me, of the Christian ilk, are completely oblivious to what is happening and unfolding because they're too tied to traditional thinking and too crippled by the religious organization that they've aligned themselves with. And so they are just oblivious to what is happening when the real answers lie within them, because they have and they are the manifestation of the divine God that not only sees but knows all things. And so if you really want to be informed, you align yourself with that divinity, that divine knowing, so that revelation is brought forth, whether it emerges from within you or it comes from a trusted source, a trusted voice that has a track record of being able to speak what is the mind of God or the future that is unfolding. And so I began to unfold and to begin to reveal what was coming, and that we should begin to prepare ourselves for a global shift, that it would affect not only your locality, but your state and your country, this country, and the world around you, your connections, your family, your jobs. Everything was going to begin to shift. Everything that can be shaken would be shaken. I spoke about this, and I spoke about it in very stark terms, to the point where people began to call me a little bit crazy and said that I was going overboard and that I was being fanatical. But I guarantee you they don't feel that way now, as they see how things have begun to unfold. Now here we are in 2025, a universal 9-year, where that 9 symbolizes in numerology the end of old systems and old structures, old doors being closed and new doors opening, new structures emerging, new systems emerging. And that if you are not aligned with, in tune with, and prepared to function and operate in alignment with those new systems, you will find yourself in chaos, all discombobulated, all twist and turned, because you are not ready for what is emerging in the now. All you have to do is just look around you, look at technology. I remember posting not too long ago, I think it was a few months ago, because I had a really negative experience in one of these retail places with fast food places, as a matter of fact, with one of the clerks that was working there. And I had the thought, as that old part of me wanted to react and to get petty. There's a thought that emerged in me and said, well, why are you getting upset about this? Because eventually, probably within the next 5 to 10 years, she won't even have a job. And I wasn't trying to be funny, nor was it really directed at her, but it was about what I know about the future with the unfolding of AI and technology, that many of the jobs that people are dependent upon now are going to become obsolete. That they'll have computers that will do the job for them. You already go into most of these fast food places, and they have very few people working there, but they have a kiosk set there where you can begin to kind of punch in whatever it is that you want, and then it shoots the order back to those who are going to prepare it, and then eventually, and then as you go up to the line, you simply pay. whether you pay at the kiosk, whether you simply go up and receive your food. Well, how far away do you think we are from the point where you'll be able to punch that in and it will send that what your order to the back? But instead of people preparing your food, it'll be machines already programmed to make what it is that you have ordered, and that by the time you leave the kiosk where you pay and walk to the counter, the machine is already shooting out your order and is sitting there on the counter. No attitude, no disposition, no anything else, but it's there. There are already stores in various major cities like in Atlanta or in Miami or in Los Angeles where there are very few people or humans that are working there, but everything is automated. You can go into the Amazon store, and if you have an Amazon account already linked to one of your credit cards or your debit cards, you can just begin to pick up the items that you want, and as you approach the counter, what you ordered is already, what you picked up rather, is already on the screen. It's already on the screen. It shows what you picked up. It shows how much it is and what the total is. And then it automatically takes the money from that account that you've connected with them, so that all you do is put your stuff in a bag and walk out the door. No human contact involved at all. What am I saying? I'm saying this not for you to become afraid or for you to get, paranoid or any of these other things. And no, this is not a sign of the end times and that Jesus is soon to come. I know that that's what the church world will say, and they'll try to hype you up and get you afraid and be very afraid. No, it's not about being afraid. It's about technology moving society forward. Yes, there are some pitfalls that can definitely come from it, but people have always had nefarious intent regardless of what it is. That's what the church world tried to say about the internet and social media. And those things have realized there are people with nefarious intent, and so therefore they use social media to bully and to do other kind of evil and things that cause people hurt or harm. But for the most part, it helps to move society forward. The key is that if you are looking into the future and you see it forming, then you can prepare yourself for what is emerging and then align your skills and your abilities and your vision with what is unfolding rather than just looking at the here and the now. The most recent prophecy that I began to release and warning that I've begun to send forward, and I'll repeat it here today, is especially for people who are of African descent, those of us who are black people, you need to make sure you have your passports in order, that you have a go bag in place that contains all of your vital information, your birth certificate and social security cards and other things of that sort, medical records, your medications and other things like that, and some cash on hand, so that you're able to have an exit strategy to leave this country for a period of time, not for forever, but for a period of time, because things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. You better hear what I'm saying to you. I know this is away from the topic, but I'm going to get back to it in just a moment. But I'm telling you, some things are going to get worse before it gets better. You need to either have an exit strategy or a survival strategy, one of the two. If you're not in a position to be able to exit the country and remain gone for a period of time, then you better make sure that you're ready to survive in what is emerging, because we are seeing an emerging authoritarianism that is coming up in this country right now, and it's only going to get worse. All of the guideposts and the guardians of quote unquote democracy, even though we don't live in a true democracy, we live more in, that's a whole nother conversation, have already began to be broken down for the most part, and we are moving toward white Christian nationalism or a theocracy That's a fancy way of saying, oh yeah, we're going to use the Bible as, as the form of government and the guideline for the government. But please understand me, especially some of you black Christians who think that, oh, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with it is it's not necessarily using the Bible as a guideline. It's who's interpreting that Bible and making the rules. Hello. Y'all, you didn't catch what I just said. Who are the people in the seats of power that are going to be doing the interpretation of that Bible and what they think that it teaches and says, and making that the rule of the law? See, don't allow your spirituality to become so whitewashed and Christianized that you are unable to begin to critically think and look at the history in this country of those who have been in power. Again, whole nother conversation. We'll get into that one another day. But what I really want you to focus on is the future that is unfolding, that we are seeing happening right now. And my job, my assignment this morning is to empower you, is to prepare you, to give you some tools that you can use to begin to set yourself financially. If you are not financially stable at this point, regardless of what your age is, if you are not financially stable by now, you have a very small window to begin to get to that place where you are financially stable, because financial stability is financial freedom, and financial freedom gives you options and choices. So that whatever unfolds, you are at least financially in a position to begin to deal with it and navigate it successfully. No, being financially fit and being financially free is not about the cars, houses, lands, and all of the accoutrements that can come from having money. That's wonderful. Nothing wrong with that. And get you the nicest car, nicest house, and the nicest clothes and jewelry, and travel as much as you like to do. But the real point is to make sure that you have the financial wherewithal to be able to do and choose and have the options available to you to move as you choose, whenever you choose to do so. And if the necessity should arise, like what is emerging now about moving and leaving and going to another country and remaining there for a year or two while things begin to reshape and a new beginning is birthed in this country, you're in a position to be able to do so and not have to be scrambling at the last minute. I'm telling you, you have a very small window of time to begin to prepare yourself and move to that place, which brought me to the topic of our conversation this morning, the power of the seed and the sacrifice. The seed and the sacrifice. Oh, okay. I see. You know what? Carrie, I'm just seeing your comment. I'll try that as well while I'm talking. He told me to just reboot the whole thing. I hadn't even thought about that. Let's try that. I'll start rebooting while I'm talking. The seed and the sacrifice. My friend Kim posted a post a few days ago that just triggered something in me. It's such a powerful statement. I actually shared her post and added my own little caption to it. She says, if you need money and you need it right away, make a hard sow a hard seed rather. Yeah, sow a hard seed. And she's like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you about what the outcome is. And what that hard seed is a sacrificial seed. She made a profound statement, and it is one of the keys to abundance and building abundance and wealth in your life that is is so prevalent throughout scripture, throughout all holy texts, across all religious sect ideas, and throughout the universe or the kingdom of God, or whatever terminology you want to use. But it is also the least used and the least trusted and believed. Yes, because there have been charlatans and people who have taken advantage and run game and tried to get over on people. But it is also because we have been so programmed and domesticated and trained through poverty, especially black people, through poverty, to think of money in a very negative light or in a very fearful light. Most African American people are afraid when it comes to money. You operate out of fear, out of want, need, lack, and scarcity. And so that leads to behaviors like hoarding and some other nefarious things in order to be able to get money, keep money, or be able to navigate. We ninja rig, y'all know the word. We ninja rig and we try and ninja fix things, and we think that that's a part of who we are, a part of our culture, a part of our collective mindset. But that collective mindset leads to more and more poverty, more and more struggle, more and more hurt, more pain, more and more lack, and more scarcity. And because we are afraid to have this uncomfortable conversation about money, around money, everybody wants more money, everybody desires more money, but we're afraid to talk about the necessity of doing these things that are necessary to create wealth and to attract money into our life. And please understand that money is energy. And so it's not just about earning money. Everyone has the capacity and the ability to earn money. All you need to do is have a job or a business or some vocation, and you can earn money. But the real key, ladies and gentlemen, is being able to multiply money, to circulate money, to move money, manage money, and give your money a mission so that it creates a momentum so money begins to flow to you effortlessly. It's not that you are just attracted to money, but that money is attracted to you. That you are part of the same energetic field. You are aligned vibrationally with the current of currency. Money is energy. I need you to understand this. I need you to grasp this before I get into defining the seed and the sacrifice. That money is energy. That's the reason it's called currency. Money is energy. Let's see if this worked, what my friend told me. I bet it. Oh, nope, it didn't work with this one. That's when you know an iPad is extremely old. Because even rebooting it didn't fix the problem. It did not. It absolutely did not. Okay, so I'm going to get me a new iPad today. I'm going online and get it. Money is energy. Do you hear me? It's energy. And everything around us moves it moves according to the laws that govern energy. Those are the same laws that govern the universe or the kingdom of God. They are the laws that govern the spirit world. And money is attracted or drawn to the frequency upon which it vibrates throughout the earth. You have to align yourself with the vibrational frequency of money to create a constant flow that comes into your life, and to create a wave of circulation of the current of currency. This is something that I've known for so many years and started practicing and saw it really begin to work, not only in my life, but in the lives of those that I would share this information with. And can I be honest with you? Can I be very transparent? For a number of years, for almost all of the years that I was leading and pastoring congregations within the Christian community, I was fearful of even teaching or sharing this kind of information because I didn't want to be branded the money preacher. And you know how people think about preachers, pastors, and churches anyway. And I didn't want that brand on me. So I just, stayed away from these kind of principles, didn't really talk about money, shied away from even discussing it. And as a result, not only did I suffer, but my congregations and those who followed me suffered because they were not taught those really simple, universal principles that could help them to move from a place of scarcity into a place of abundance. I have since been very liberated and seen my finances just blow up as a result of not only just following the principles, but teaching these principles as I do to those who are connected with the Emerge movement. We have a financial fitness plan inside of the partner portal that absolutely changes lives and revolutionizes your finances. I'm telling you right now, if you are not a part of the Patreon, you should join our Patreon. Now, you have to join the paid tier. There's a free tier where you get a lot of information as well. But if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts and the nitty gritty of it all, you need to get behind the paywall and join as a paid partner so that you can take advantage of the financial fitness plan. And I guarantee you it will change your life if you follow it. Now, if you don't follow it, then, you can get the information without application, leads to frustration. That's just a fact. Okay. Information without application will just simply lead to frustration. But if you apply it, then you'll see it happen for you. All right. So let's dig in. Let's talk about the seed and the sacrifice, because if we're going to see exponential growth in our financial situation and our circumstances, we need to understand these two things. What is the seed and what is the sacrifice, and how do these two things work together, merge together to become a hard seed, as Kim says, or a sacrificial seed, which is what I'm going to use more as terminology for us this morning. Your seed, let's deal with it from a horticultural standpoint first. Okay, the scripture says, as long as the earth remains, seed, time, and harvest will never cease. Seed, time, and harvest will never cease. Not seed time, seed, time, and harvest will never cease. Seed will never cease, time will never cease, harvest will never cease. So the important thing is to get in alignment with seed, time, and harvest. Let me say it again. The important thing is to get into harmonious alignment with the three things that will never cease: seed, time, harvest. Okay? Everything that's in this material world operates on seed, time, harvest. Cause, effect, sowing, reaping, compensation, circulation, attraction, seed, time, harvest. Everything in this material world operates according to seed, time, harvest. Now, we're talking about money this morning, but please understand that your thoughts are seed. Your words are seed. Your actions are seed. Okay? And those three things are, those of you who've been watching, you know, the process of manifestation. How you bring something from the imagination to manifestation is by your thoughts, words, and deeds. When you sow your mental seeds, your verbal seeds, and your action, behavioral seeds, it causes a chain reaction throughout the kingdom of God, throughout the universe, and in nature that shifts the paradigm of your lived experience and puts you in the position to receive an abundance of what it is that you have seeded toward. Seed, time, and harvest will never cease. As long as the earth remains, as long as we are on this terra firma, as long as the earth continues to revolve around the sun, seed, time, and harvest will never cease. This principle, these forces, this energy will never come to an end. We know energy can never be created or destroyed, and that energy is kinetic. It is always moving, forming, and creating. And the law of transmutation allows us to take that raw energy and transmute it into a form that serves us or that supports our highest good. But seed, time, and harvest will never cease. Now, if you get this, then you're going to understand the seed and the sacrifice. Let's begin to define what the seed is. Staying with the horticultural, agricultural analogy here, the seed is what is sown or planted in the ground. And when it is planted in the ground, it begins the process of germination. Germination is equal to activation. The seed is what activates. Let me say that again. That the seed is what activates. Your seed is germination or activation toward what it is that you desire. Now, we're talking about money, but again, remember, thoughts, words, deeds, all of those are seeds. But we're talking specifically about money. And this is important because the law of sowing and reaping that you know about from your scripture, look at what it simply says. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. The operative words in that statement or that phrase are the words what and that. Those are the two operative words. Those are the words that are doing the heavy lifting in that verse. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That you reap what you sow. You cannot sow bananas and get apples. Are you hearing me? You cannot sow grapefruits and get grapes. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. If you want or desire, rather, money to manifest, you have to sow money. And when you sow the seed of money, you activate your seed. You activate. What are you activating? You are activating the laws of abundance. Those universal kingdom laws that govern abundance and creates the manifestation of abundance in your life. When you sow a seed, you are activating through germination, you are activating the laws, the law of compensation, the law of circulation, the law of cause and effect, the law of increase, the law of compensation, okay, and the law of attraction. You are activating those laws because you are aligning yourself with the frequency or the energy or the anointing or the spirit of those laws that are functioning throughout the kingdom. Your seed is an activator. I want everybody in the comments to write in the comments, seed equals activation. Just use the little equal sign. Seed equals activation. Seed equals activation. Okay? When you sow seed, it activates. It hits the soil and begins the immediate process of germination. Interacting with the laws that govern abundance. It activates the law of cause and effect. It activates the law of compensation. It activates the law of circulation. It activates, the law of sowing and reaping. It activates the law of attraction. It activates these laws. It begins to put them in motion. It causes a chain reaction. Seed equals activation. But staying with that particular allegory then, if you put a seed in the ground and you water it and cover it with dirt, and it begins the process of germination or activation, interacting with the soil, you'll wait for the seed to begin to produce some type of fruit. You'll see a sprout come up out of the ground eventually, and time, seed, and then time comes into play. Time is the process period for which the seed is going through activation and germination. Seed, time, harvest. Seed goes into the ground. Now time begins its work through the process of activation and germination that will ultimately end in harvest. Okay? But ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about is sacrificial seed. Seed equals activation. But sacrifice, staying with the analogy, sacrifice equals fertilization. If you want to cut down the time period between seed and harvest, you enter time with fertilization. You fertilize the soil so that the activation is accelerated and the time between the seed and the harvest is cut short. Did you catch what I just said? Okay? Seed is the activation, but sacrifice is fertilization. Sacrifice is the fertilizer that enriches the soil so that the activation, germination happens quicker. It is accelerated. And when it accelerates, it shortens the time between seed time and harvest. Did you catch what I just said? Seed, time, and harvest are going to follow that flow, but sacrifice fertilizes in time so that the time between seed and harvest is shortened because of the sacrifice. Now, why? Because when you are sacrificing, you are enacting your faith. You are aligning with the energy and the currency of the current of currency, and activating your faith, recognizing the source as the producer of the harvest. That money is not my source. The job is not my source. The bank account, the investment, the business is not my source, but it is the Spirit of God within me that is the source of my supply. So when I make a sacrifice, that is, I do which is hard, I do which requires real faith. See, some of you can sow a seed of $20, and that is also a sacrifice. But there are others of you that are watching me that $20 is no sacrifice. It is no real sacrifice. It's just $20. You can sow $20 and it doesn't even bother you. You won't even miss it. It's no big deal to you. But when you make a sacrifice, you are making a declaration of your divine spirit. You are saying to the universe, to the kingdom of God, to God itself, you are saying, I don't trust these things, I trust God. I believe God. I believe the laws and the principles that God has put in place that governs the universe around me, and I trust in that. My faith is not in the person. My faith is not in the job. My faith is not in the place or thing. My faith is in God. And I am trusting the process of seed, time, and harvest to flow at a frequency that allows streams of revenue to flow to my life effortlessly. So sacrifice equals fertilization. Sacrifice equals fertilization. Now, like you did with seed, I want you to put in the comments, sacrifice equals fertilization. Sacrifice equals fertilization. And please understand, while we are talking about money, this works universally across the board. Whether it is you are the seed of your thoughts, or the seed of your words, or the seed of your actions, when you begin to make those seeds sacrificial, it fertilizes the ground and it cuts short the period between seed and harvest. The time that goes between seed and harvest is now shortened, is now abbreviated, because you have fertilized the seed. Let me give another analogy. Your seed then is the fire, and your sacrifice is the fuel. Whew, that's good right there. Your seed is the fire, the spark. And you can start a fire, and anybody knows this, and the fire will burn and it will eventually spread and pick up speed and momentum, but it's a slower process. The time period for which a fire burns and becomes an inferno is a process and a period. But when you add fuel to the fire begins to burn hotter, faster, and spreads quicker, creating an inferno. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your seed is the fire. Go ahead, put that in the comments. Seed equals fire. It is your fire. It is your spark. It is your initiator. It is your flipping the switch. But then the fuel is the sacrifice. The sacrifice equals fuel. It is gasoline being poured on the fire. Oh, goodness gracious. It is fuel that feeds the fire and causes it to burn hotter, faster, and quicker, and to spread exponentially, because you have added fuel to the fire. Are you hearing me? You can light the coals in your grill, but when you start to squeeze that fuel on there, lighter fluid, it ignites that fire and causes it to burn hotter and faster, and it will cause those coals to begin to change color a lot faster because it accelerates. Are you hearing me? It accelerates the power of that fire. Okay? Firefighters will tell you that fires spread quicker and burn hotter when there is an accelerant. something that fuels the fire. Your sacrifice equals the fuel. Woo! Let me say that again. I said your sacrifice equals the fuel. Put that in the comments. Seed equals fire. Sacrifice equals fuel. It is the accelerant. It is what feeds the fire of your seed and causes it to grow. Now, what constitutes a sacrifice is when you are giving at a level that is hard, that is difficult, that actually costs you something. The best example of this is the allegory or the story that is told in 1 Kings chapter 17 when Elijah meets the woman of Zarephath. When he meets this woman, he says to her, I want you to make me a cake to eat. And the woman, it's in a time of famine. It is in a time of need. It is in a time where things have dried up all around, not only her, but the entire nation around them is experiencing a famine. And the prophet shows up and says, woman, what do you have in your house? And she says, I got a little curse of oil and some meal, and I'm going to make me a cake. Listen to her desperation and an indication of how bad the famine was. I'm going to make a cake for me and my child, and we're going to eat that, and then we're going to die. Okay? Because it'll be our last meal, our last supper. We are down to our last. This is all that I have left. And the prophet almost seemingly ignores her plight, her plea, and what's going on in her present. He says to her, okay, but make me a cake first. In other words, I want you to make a sacrifice. I want you to sow a seed and make that seed sacrificial. I want you to do something that's hard, that requires faith, that's going to cost you something. The woman just said, I'm going to make a cake for me and my son. We're going to eat this and die. And the gentleman, the prophet, says to her, but make me one first before you do anything for yourself. And I know that this is going to cost you because you're going to dip into the oil and the meal that you have left and make me a cake, which means there's going to be less for you and your son, that you may only be able to make one cake instead of two. And now either you or your son will be able to eat and the other will go without. But make me a cake first. It's going to cost you something. It's going to put a demand on your faith. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It is going to put a demand on your faith. It is going to put a demand on your divinity. Make me a cake first, he says. He says, I don't want you to think about your situation or your circumstance. I don't want you to focus on the eventual outcome that you have determined is going to happen. I don't want you to act in a way that aligns with the fear of what the eventual outcome is going to be. I want you to bring your thoughts, words, and your actions into alignment with faith and make a sacrificial seed. Sow a sacrificial seed. I want you to supply the fire and the fuel. I want you to sow the seed and the fertilizer so that you can experience seed, time, and harvest, and you can experience it at an accelerated pace. You can get an immediate response. And suddenly, all throughout scriptures, you'll find this term used over and over again. And suddenly, or behold, that's another way of saying, and suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, this happens and materializes. Why? Because there has been a sacrificial seed that has been put in play. And when that sacrificial seed is released, and suddenly, that is the time period between seed and harvest, is abbreviated, cut short, so that you see an immediate, accelerated response to the seed that is sown. Now, I need you to understand that this is magic, but it's not hocus pocus or abracadabra. You have to bring your thoughts, words, and actions in alignment. You can negate or dig up your seed by sowing your seed, even if it's a sacrificial seed, but then not bringing your thoughts, words, and action in alignment with the seed that was sown. It's tantamount to your digging the seed up. You've sown the sacrificial seed, but you're constantly worrying and fretting and doubting, and then your mouth gets involved and you start to speak against the very thing that you just sowed. I shouldn't have did that. What was I thinking? Man, I could have used that money for, man, I should have did this. Man, if I hadn't sown that seed. And so you go back to the actions now. Here's the third part of manifestation. Your actions then begin to regress to those same actions aligned with poverty, lack, and scarcity, and you start behaving in the same poverty mentality that you did before, which produced the same results that you're in right now. So when I say it's magic, it absolutely is. It is divine magic, but it is not hocus pocus or abracadabra. You have to have the follow through. You have to maintain the thoughts, words, and deeds that align with abundance and prosperity and increase. And the moment your seed, your sacrificial seed, hits the soil, it begins to activate at an accelerated pace all the laws that govern abundance. The law of circulation says that it is about circulation is about momentum. It says that when you have sown your seed and you continue to sow those kinds of seeds, you are creating a circular movement within your life that causes what goes out to come back in. It goes out and it comes back in, creating a circle or a cycle of abundance in your life. But it doesn't just come back to you, sowing and reaping. What so a man soweth, that shall he also reap. But then you activate the law of increase, so that what you sow is what you reap, but you reap in much greater and larger proportion than what you've sown. This is bared out by the principle that's enumerated in Luke 6:38. Give, it says, and it shall be given unto you. Okay, what you've sown will be returned to you, but it's not going to just return. It returns good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Did you hear those four levels? Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. How does it return? Good measure. That means that it has increased and expanded. Okay, good measure. Pressed down. That means even that now is pushed down, creating even larger space. Shaken together and running over. It comes in waves and in levels. It creates a cycle of a wave of income, of streams of abundance that continuously flows into your life. Listen, this not only applies to money, and we're talking about money, but it applies to your thoughts, it applies to your words, it applies to your action, it applies to everything that you do. When you sow it as a seed, a sacrificial seed, it returns, it enacts the law of increase that sends that seed back to you and multiplies it. Woo! Cred day, that every seed you sow, every sacrificial seed you sow comes back multiplied, accelerated and multiplied. Let me say that again. Every sacrificial seed you sow returns to you in an accelerated fashion and multiplied. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Are you hearing me? It also enacts or activates the law of cause and effect. Your sacrificial seed is the causation. The effect is the harvest. Seed, time, harvest. You keep seeing these connections. I keep trying to draw the lines between all of them and connect the dots so that you can understand it. So that when the law of cause and effect says for every cause, there is a definite and consistent, perpetual, predictable effect. For every cause. And once you have discovered the cause of a thing, then you can always reproduce and replicate the effect. Well, the cause of accelerated financial growth and abundance is a sacrificial seed. Seed is the causation. The effect is the harvest. Seed, time, and harvest. Your seed, your sacrificial seed, also activates the law of compensation. The law of compensation says that the kingdom, the universe, that God itself will always compensate you for all that you do, whether in thoughts, words, deeds, actions. The universe always pays you back. It keeps the books balanced. It makes sure that you are never giving out more than what you receive. Lord, let me say it again. And I hear some of you already. I hear your thoughts. Your thoughts have become audible. I'm always doing more than what I get back. I'm always giving more than what I receive because you keep digging up your seed and because of where your mindset is. The law of compensation guarantees that the books are always going to be balanced and that you will never give more than you receive. That old song that we used to sing growing up in church is a true idiom. You cannot beat God giving, no matter how you try. The more you give, the more God gives to you. So just keep on giving because it's really true. You cannot beat God giving. Why? Because the law is in place to compensate you, to make sure that the books are balanced and that you never give more than what you receive. Okay? Now, there is an overriding theme here. There is an overriding theme when we talk about the seed and the sacrifice. This activation comes with this next law that I'm getting ready to tell you about or explain in brief. And my time is really up. I'm over by 8 minutes, so I got to finish. Okay? This is not just the law of compensation or sowing and reaping or circulation, which is about momentum, or the law of increase. But listen to me. Yes, the harvest always outweighs the seed, Kamoria. That's good. Okay? That's absolutely right. The harvest always outweighs the seed. This final law that I want to introduce you to, or that I want to take a brief moment and explain for some of you, because some of you understand this law. You've been following this platform for a while, and so you know it, or maybe you've learned it on your own as well. Okay? And we're not just talking about cause and effect, compensation, circulation, but it is the law of reciprocity. Okay? Reciprocity. This law simply states, and here's the thing, it puts forth and infers and demands that you give what you expect to receive. Isn't it crazy? The very thing that you desire to have, you have to be willing to give it, to release it, to surrender it in order to receive it. You got to give love in order to receive love. God is purported to have followed this same principle when John says we love God because it first loved us. What? It understood that in order to be loved, it had to love us first. God so loved the world when the world didn't love God at all, wasn't thinking about God, wasn't trying to align with God. God acted in love that it gave. It what? It gave. It did what? God so loved that it gave. Gave what? Its only begotten Son, that whosoever would believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. It gave what it desired to receive. So it understood that the law was in place, this law of reciprocity that demands that you give what you expect to receive. Are you hearing me? You give love, you get love in return. You give joy, you get joy in return. You give grace, you get grace in return. You give money, and you get money in return. You cannot attract what you are not willing to give. You cannot, are you hearing me? You cannot get what you are not willing to give. And when you begin to make soul sacrificial seed, you align yourself and activate the law of reciprocity that says because you gave it, you have to get what you gave. I surrendered it. I released it. I let go of it. I gave it. I sold it. And now it is obligated to return to me, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Final thing, and I'm going to close. There are 4 M's that I teach all the time in the partner portal, and I'm going to leave them with you this morning. Money is attractive. The law of attraction says like attracts like. That's what the law of attraction is really about. Like attracts like. So when it's not about paying for a prophecy or paying for a blessing. It's about aligning yourself. When you align yourself, like attracts like. You become one with the thing that you desire to attract. So when you align your thoughts, align your words, align your actions with abundance, abundance becomes who you are, and you attract abundance. Abundance attracts abundance. Just like bitterness attracts bitterness. I often get tickled when I hear different ones talking about the different type of people that always seem to flow into life. How come I'm always meeting people that are users? I'm always meeting people that are mean. Or I'm always meeting abusers. I'm always, I can't ever seem to attract a good man. I'm always attracting these old, sorry, no good men. These women, I'm always attracted. And you look outward and you begin to pass a judgment on the different men and women that are in the world, or the different places and things and situations. But I want you to recognize that if the same things keep showing up in your life, it's not a problem with what's going on out there. It's a problem with what's going on in here, because like attracts like. So you should be asking, what is it about me that keeps attracting that and those kinds of things and those type of people into my life? Why do I keep attracting the same people? What's going on inside of me? Where is my vibrational frequency, my mindset? How am I aligned, or am I misaligned, and thereby attracting chaos into my life because I am in a chaotic state of being? Ooh. Am I attracting poverty because I act, move, think, and behave in a impoverished mindset, worldview, point of view, and perspective? Am I enacting hoarding and selfishness because I behave in a selfish manner? So people are selfish with me because I'm selfish with people? Like attracts like. The divine law of reciprocity says that you have to be willing to surrender and give what you desire to come back, and you have to align yourself with the energy of that thing so that you can attract what you are. You don't attract what you want. Woo! Let me say that again. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You don't attract what you want. You don't attract who you want. You attract what and who you are. Everything that is present in your life is a reflection of who you are. Let me say it again. Lord have mercy for the people sitting in the back in the cheap seats and getting mad at me right now. Everything and everyone that is present in your life is a reflection of who and what you are. Your outer world of form and experience is a reflection of your inner world of thought and feeling. And so your thoughts, words, actions, your feelings, your emotions all have to align harmoniously, transitioning, transcending, and transforming you into that which you wish to attract. So your seed and your sacrifice, are you hearing me, are the activation and germination, the fire and the fuel that produces the harvest that you desire. Seed, time, and harvest will never cease, but you can manipulate time and the harvest by your seed. When your seed is sacrificial, it manipulates time, abbreviating it, shortening it, and it manipulates the harvest by multiplying it. You know, when you fertilize a thing, you get more fruit than you would normally get. When fertilization affects germination, you get a bumper crop. You get a huge crop. You get a huge increase. Your increase is exponential. Seed, time, and harvest. You can manipulate the time and the harvest by determining the seed. Whew! Okay? Finally, and I'm done, because I want to give you an opportunity to sow seed this morning, to sow a sacrificial seed. Please understand that seeding is worship. The very first act of worship that we find ever mentioned in Scripture is giving. When Abraham says that I and the lad will go up the mountain and we're going to worship, he was going up the mountain to give a sacrificial seed. Isaac was the sacrificial seed that he was going to offer to God. He called it what? Worship. He said, we're going up the mountain to worship. Every time you sow a sacrificial seed, you're worshiping. That is an act of worship. Giving is an act of worship. Not yay, Lord, come into this place. We love you, Lord. We worship you, Almighty God. Holy, 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 holy. Okay? But giving is a form, is what worship is at its substratum, at its base, at its foundation. Worship is an act of generosity. It is an act of sacrificial giving. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? And so I want to give you an opportunity to worship this morning through your sacrificial seed. Now you're waiting for me to tell you, oh, I want you to sow a seed of this much or this amount or this. No, I'm not going to do that. I want you to sow a sacrificial seed, a hard seed. I want you this morning to sow a hard seed. Yes, it will support the ministry, support this platform, help to expand and grow it, all of those things. That's the material, that's the natural. But in the spirit, your seed is going to be your activation. It will enact all of the laws that we spoke of, and it will fuel the fire of transformation where your finances are concerned. So this is not about just supporting the platform, that's a part of it. But this is about your changing the trajectory of your financial existence and life in this plane of consciousness. Okay? And it's not something you do one time, whether it's to me or to some other person or some other entity, or in whatever way you decide to sow your seed. But you need to consistently sow sacrificial seeds to create a consistent harvest, to consistently manipulate time and harvest by the sacrificial seed. So I want you to join me in worshiping by sowing a sacrificial seed. You know what is a sacrifice for you. I can't determine that for you. I don't know what's a sacrifice for you. There are some of you that $50 is a sacrifice. But there are others of you that $50 is child's play. You'll spend $50 just putting gas in your car. Okay? That's no big money. It's no big whoop to you. And so your sacrifice is going to require a seed that is much larger. So look at what's going to cost you something. And then I want you to sow a sacrificial seed, to worship with your sacrificial seed. Whatever that size is, whatever that amount is, whatever is a sacrifice for you, I want you to sow it, and I want you to sow it right now. Okay? I'm putting on screen the different ways that you can sow. And for those of you who are watching over here, the ways that you can sow are already written above me. This is where you can sow your sacrificial seed right now, this morning, to begin to add fuel to the fire. Your fire and the fuel, your seed and your fertilizer, the accelerant that will cause it to multiply in your life. This is not a gimmick. It's not a game. It's not a trick. It's not a hustle. This, as I've shown you in this teaching, is spiritual principle and practice. This is a spiritual principle and practice that aligns with the laws of abundance and with the ample, endless, infinite supply of the all of everything that is God, who is the source of our supply. It's written right here. You decide what that sacrifice is, but do make your sacrifice right now. Do it now. Worship in your giving right now. Those of you watching across all platforms, make your sacrifice, sow your sacrificial seed in this moment. Do it now. Do it now. I want to thank you all for tuning in and being a part of this empowerment session. There's so much more that I could say, but I don't have enough time to be able to say it all in this one setting. I want to encourage you to go to Amazon and order my books. Get these books. I have a book that's about how to manifest the life that you desire. The Alchemy. Well, that's one that's sitting right here. The Alchemy of Abundance. That's on there as well. The 6 laws that govern abundance is on there. Go on Amazon, download these books, read the information that's in them. I also want to encourage all of my friends that are in the Ben Hill County, Irwin County, Coffee County area. I'm going to be in town on August the 14th, 15th, and the 16th. The 14th and 15th, we'll be doing a restoration revival at Joy Temple, where Michael Acree is the pastor. And then that 16th, that Saturday, at the same location, we'll be doing a financial fitness workshop where I'm going to teach you not only the laws that govern abundance, but I'm going to teach you about investments, how to invest, whether it is day trading or in real estate or other or in the market. I'm going to teach you the basic principles of investment and how you can grow your money in this economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a dynamic shift where the economy is concerned, especially here in the United States. But if you understand how money works and operates and the mechanisms that are at play, then you can have an abundant harvest in the time of a famine. Oh, and a famine is definitely coming. Oh, absolutely. You can see already. Look at the inflation numbers, the unemployment numbers. Look at what's happening. Look at some of the economic decisions that are being made and the strategies that are being put forth by this administration. We are headed toward a famine, a recession, and if we're not careful, a depression. But you can be, as David said, who will only with your eyes observe the destruction around you, but it will not come nigh your dwelling place, because you've learned the laws and principles that govern abundance, and you've learned how to handle your money in a way that allows you to build the kind of wealth and abundance that will not be affected by the global economy. So I want you to join me. The registration for that workshop is $100. That's a penny. Compared to what the information is that you're going to get. You're going to get free information, free materials that I'm going to put in your hand to help you to grow your finances and to become financially stable and free. I'm going to hand out some of my books to those of you who are enrolled, who have registered for it. You need to come to the revival. Because when I talk about restoration, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to release a prophetic insight and words that are going to empower, strengthen, and enlighten you and totally revolutionize your life if you take those words and apply them. Because information without application will lead to frustration. So August the 14th, 15th, and 16th, I'll be there in Fitzgerald, Georgia. Okay, so everybody in South Georgia and the surrounding areas, from as far up as North Carolina and far down as Florida, come and meet me in South Georgia for these 3 days that will change your life. I've posted the flyers. The address and location is already on there. Registration forms are there. Make sure you click the link, get the registration form, fill it out, pay your registration for the workshop, come and attend the revival. That's absolutely free to whoever wants to come. Just come those 2 nights and be with us, and let's learn, celebrate, and grow, and do something more than just shout and dance. We're going to do that too. We can dance and shout, but we're going to learn something that changes and transforms us. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you again for tuning in to the Emerge Empowerment Center. I will see you next week at this same time for the Emerge Empowerment Session. Have an absolutely wonderful, stupendous day.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at Emerge LEC Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.